Bim, guess what? It's 9 o'clock. It's Sunday. So I haven't got used to that bit yet. And it's the news roundup of the week, 21st of January 2024. So we're going to look at the week's news, for around the world, as well as a bit of local stuff as well. If you want to join in the chat, feel free. If you're listening or watching this at a later date, then feel free to comment. I will do my best to say hi and either have a chat with you or not have a chat with you. It's one of the best times to have a chat if you want to chat, because I am looking at the main screen all the time. Hello Mr. Barton, hope you're well. Hope you haven't been blown away yet. We've got severe weather warnings going on at the moment. Hi JT and Rach, hope you're both good as well. Around the whole country, but that's news that's today. We're not looking at that first. We're going to be looking at the news that has basically been the main news of the week. It's a whole new format to this to me, so just bear with me. The first one being the post office. Luke Williams, good evening sir. Welcome to the broadcast. Fujitsu apologised for the issues of the Horizon software post office scandal, and they are currently still having some issues with it apparently, but Fujitsu are still getting many government contracts. They will possibly maybe don't know, pay a bit of compensation, which should be done because it's their fault as well as the post office's fault of what went on. They have got a moral responsibility, they admitted as well. Also, they said at a later date on Friday, Paul Patterson, who's the chief executive of Fujitsu, said he knew Horizon was flawed before the post office did, but he also said that everyone at the post office knew it was flawed before they started making prosecutions, which opens up a whole new can of worms. So yes, hopefully the poor people who've been mistreated so badly, worked at the post office, will get what they deserve, which is a fair outcome to this nonsense. You're always blown away by my content. Oh no, that's stuff I do on OnlyFans. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Red Sea. Now, we did, as in the United Kingdom and the USA, some strategic strikes against the Houthis, but more ships are refusing to sail into the Red Sea. Qatar are the latest ones to stop using the route. Rishi say it was limited targets that were deployed. On Tuesday, however, a Greek container ship was hit again. And you can see from the map there that the red route is the route that they used to take, which was still quite long. You can see the time there and how long it takes. And then the green route is the route they're having to take now, which is taking them around the Cape of Good Hope, or Horn, or whatever it's called. And it's taking days longer, which works out at $1 million a ship. Now, bearing in mind these ships can contain multi-million dollars worth of stuff. It's not a huge amount more, but it could cause problems with supplies of bits and pieces. Lainey, hello. Yeah, Elaine is on as well. Yeah, so what are we going to do about the Houthis? See, it's hypocritical for me to say that we should bomb them and destroy them when I've been standing with the Palestinians over what's been going on with Israel in Gaza. However, what they've done in Israel and Gaza is more ethnic cleansing, which I've said many times before. Whereas these strikes were targeted, but it's never gone well when the United Kingdom and America have gone in gun-ho into any part of the Middle East. I mean, it's just an absolute nightmare. Anyway, we wait with breath abated to see what actually occurs over the next few weeks. Sending the SAS. Well, yeah, sending in the SAS might work, and I dare say we've already got SAS people in there already, or equivalents in Yemen. But yeah, something needs to be done. because it's affecting trade routes. So people say, oh yeah, well, it's all about the money. Well, it is all about the money, but it's also about the freedom of people to live their lives the way they want to and not be dictated to by a few armed rebels supported by Iran in the Red Sea. And they're saying they're only attacking the shipping because it's they don't agree with the war going on in Gaza. Well, I don't agree with the war going on in Gaza, but I fail to see how creating another situation somewhere else is going to help that resolve itself anytime soon. Anyway, those are the main stories of the week, which brings us to the news roundup of the week, which is where I look at the news that's been happening this week, starting on Monday the 15th of January. Nottingham Forest and Everton have been charged again for more misconduct financially. Now, Everton are already appealing 10-point deduction and various other restrictions that have been given to them over them losing too much money over a period of time. And I'm like, how can you get done and fined for losing money? You've lost money. Surely it's not in your interest to lose money, so why are you getting punished for losing money? It's like you've got too much money to spend, so and you don't care if you lose. I don't understand how it works. But anyway, Nottingham Forest have been dragged in it as well on Monday, so we'll see how that one pans out. We'll also see how the appeal goes for Everton. But again, one's breath is not holding. Meanwhile, in Iceland, more homes were destroyed by lava in the eruption, which is spectacular. We've not really seen much about it since Monday because other news has kind of overtaken it. But yeah, sadly, quite a few people have lost their homes in Iceland. And the biggest non-news story of the day is that Zayn Malik has released a song in Urdu. Yep, made the news. Tuesday, Rishi suffers his biggest rebellion after the Roundup plan is put through Parliament. 3 of his people you've never heard of resign, thinking it's going to make a difference. But they've resigned over it not being strong enough. They think it's a weak thing that the government are trying to do with the Rwandans now. Not the Rwandans, sorry, with the illegal migrants by sending them to Rwanda. I think the whole thing is absolute nonsense and a waste of money and a waste of time. However, I equally think that putting illegal migrants up in hotels at the taxpayers' expense in the United Kingdom is also a complete waste of time and useless and everything. Also heard today possibility that it's been rumoured that Keir Starmer has said that all migrants who are over here would get an amnesty, which means they'd be allowed to stay, which is great, apart from the fact we don't know who they are. So we've got all these young men who seem to be all over in the, well, spread through the whole country. We don't know where they're from, we don't know who they are, we don't know how old they are, we don't know what, if any, criminal activity they've been up to in their countries or on the way across. It could be murderers, rapists, child molesters, drug dealers, they could be freedom fighters, they could be terrorists, they could be nice people. We don't know. And that's the problem. If you come to this country or any country with no ID, then why are you being respected as a human being? Because we all have ID of some kind, or at least you give people the information they need to identify you. If I was leaving the UK for, I don't know, maybe there was a big coup, a cult on people with massive noses, then I would flee the country, but I'd have my paperwork with me. So if I got to France or wherever, I'd say, look, this is me and this is the reason why I'm leaving. And I need safe passage and I need to be kept here and blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't throw my documents or burn them or whatever before I got wherever it was I was going. So yeah, I agree that we need to do something, but Rwanda is not the solution. And why Russia's keeping going on about it, I've got no idea whatsoever. They are... Oh, did you see the BMW story, Mr. T? Hi, Angela. They are pushing for hydrogen-powered vehicles, something you've been going on about for ages. Yeah, since I started doing What a Week That Was, which was 2 years ago. This is year 3 now, with the now called the News Roundup of the Week. I've been going on about all the electric cars nonsense. In fact, I've got something up here that I think is going on in Robin Park, which proves my point. about electric cars and what a waste of time they are. We've also got our weekly electric car fire. They've got to call it Electric Car Fire of the Week or something similar. No, probably not. Anyway, that brings us to Wednesday. Don't forget, if you're new, feel free to join in the chat as well. If you have opinions, thoughts, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. That's the whole point of this. It's like an online debate where we discuss stuff. I'm working on a way of getting someone to actually be in that bit there so we can actually talk to them. Yeah, I haven't figured that one out yet. Although I might be doing an interview possibly in the future where I need to figure it out because I'm going to be doing it online initially. But anyway, that's the thing for the future. Wednesday was a weird day. I spent an afternoon in hospital. Not for myself, for my mother in Tameside Hospital, which is in, well, oddly, Tameside, Ashton-under-Lyne. And I got there. It was an arranged appointment to have them look at her shoulder. She fell over a good few years ago and broke her shoulder, broke her arm. And it's never healed properly. She's now 88, so it's hardly surprising, but it is causing her a lot of pain, so they decided to take her to hospital. So I took the afternoon off and I went to her home when the ambulance was already there. So immediately they took us to the hospital. We ended up going to 3 departments because we'd been sent to the wrong department. And when we got in the right department, we were actually seen incredibly quickly. Very polite staff, very well organised. Tameside Hospital's had more of a people throwing stuff at it than Wigan Hospital has. It's done really badly, but I couldn't fault them for the way my mother was handled actually in the building. It was fantastic. But because she's in a wheelchair, and that's why we had the ambulance to take her, it wasn't an A&E ambulance, it was more of a public transport ambulance. We had to wait for another one to bring her back. So we'd been in the hospital for about no more than half an hour, and everything was over and done with, and we had to wait 2.5 hours. We had to wait for an ambulance to come and pick her up, which was a very long time, more so because I was watching daytime TV. Dickinson's Real Deal. There was a thing about Marvel magazines from the comics from the 1970s, including the original Captain Britain with a mask and everything, and I thought they were worth quite a bit. He wanted £1,000 for it, but they always want a lot. The dealer only wanted to give 300 quid. He decided to take it to auction. The auction started at 700 quid, no bids, 500 quid, no bids, 300 quid, no bids. So the items never get sold. If he brought them to my shop, he probably would have got about 400 or 500 quid for them. But anyway, he didn't. So that's that, isn't it? But then it got worse. There was then a programme to do with riddles, and I was having horrific flashbacks to 3-2-1, where they had those stupid little shitty little, I don't even know what to call them. I was going to say sketches, but sketches are actually quite funny. You know, when they do a funny little scene or have a little story or something and everyone laughs at the end of it, and then they come up with this riddle that's got nothing to do with what we've just seen and makes no sense. Well, this whole programme didn't even have the sketches in it. It had a boring guy sat behind a desk, a boring woman asking the questions, and boring people answering them. It was dreadful. It was on for an hour. It was, again, awful. And then one of my favourite people used to do QI, whose name has completely escaped me at the minute, but no doubt it'll come back to me at some point. Used to do the presenting of QI. Is now doing Jeopardy. Now, I've never seen Jeopardy before. I know it's an old TV programme, particularly popular in America, and it's been brought back here, as is Wheel of Fortune, for God knows why. So I had to watch some of that, and that was dreadfully dull as well. I mean, really, really, really dreadfully dull. And this is while I'm in a hospital waiting room with my mother, saying that she wants to go home now because she's fed up. And I'm like, yeah, I want to go home as well because I'm fed up. But yeah, overall, the dealing with the NHS wasn't actually that bad. The government won the vote on Rwanda, finally, on Wednesday. Now it's got to go to the Lords and get through the Lords and then come back again. Andy the Cyclist, good evening. Welcome to the chat. Tragedy as a 2-year-old dies possibly from starvation next to his dad, who looks like he'd had a heart attack. Bronson Battersby in Skegness was visited by social services, but they didn't get a reply for a few days, and he was found on the 9th of January with his late father. appears that his father had a heart attack, and being a 2-year-old, the young boy wouldn't know what to do, and ended up being found dead a week later, longer than a week later, after the social services visited on the 2nd of January. All seems like everything's just falling apart with social services at the moment. They either go in too hard and just mess everyone's lives up, or it's a thankless task, I know, or they just don't act quick enough, or they don't think about things. But a 2-year-old not being seen for over a week, and then he's found dead curled up next to his deceased father. It's just horrendous. What did that child go through? Meanwhile, in royal news on Tuesday, King Charles is going into hospital for an enlarged prostate. Nothing to worry about, apparently. And Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is in hospital after abdominal surgery. And she's stayed in hospital for at least 2 weeks because it seems unnecessary for her to go home. Then we get to Thursday. In Northern Ireland, there, so it has 100,000 public sector workers went on strike due to the fact there's no government, and they all want a wage rise, and they can't get one, even though the UK government has given the money for a wage rise. Because there's no actual active government there in Stormont, they are not actually being given that wage rise, so they all went out on strike, and you got to agree with them. There were no gritters out, there was a lot of school shut and various other things going on, and you've got to agree that that is the right thing for them to do. And Sinn Féin is actually the ones being sensible. It's the DUP who are just taking the absolute mickey there, so they are. Oh yeah, and Fergie's been diagnosed. That's breaking news, Alan. We haven't done that one yet. With skin cancer. Not the football manager. The ex-royal, current royal thing. Tata Steel is rumoured to be closing both furnaces at... oh God, where was it? I've not written how it is. I think it was Port Talbot in Wales. But yeah, Tata Steel were rumoured to be closing both furnaces, which would mean 3,000 jobs lost. They are changing to electric arc furnaces, which are apparently more environmentally friendly, unless of course the electricity is made from burning coal, which makes them not environmentally friendly because you have to build the bloody things first. So yeah, it's a weird one, but say on Thursday it was only a rumour. I heard a rumour. Pakistan hit back at Iran with a missile strike following Iran attacking Pakistan. It's tit for tat. These things have been going on for a year, but the way tensions are around the world, it's been noted. And again later on, I think yesterday or Friday, Pakistan hit back again at Iran. So that could escalate. So we could have a fourth war going on around the world. On a happier note, a beluga whale was spotted near the Shetland Islands. It's a rare event. It's only the 6th beluga whale in 50 years found in British waters. Beluga whales are the cute white whales with a little button nose. Not quite dolphin-esque, but more, I would say more dolphin than whale, but they are cute. And it comes to have a nosy around Scotland, obviously a bit like me, heavily invested in The Traitors on BBC One at the moment, and I wanted to see where it was filmed. So he'd come down, or she'd come down to Scotland to have a nosy, because it is filmed in Scotland. Not a lot of people know that. BAFTA nominations were announced. I couldn't give a flying, if I'm being honest. Rishi held a very odd press conference as well. It's a bit like one of them things that Boris did, and where he comes out and he talked for about a minute and a half saying, we're stopping the boats won't be coming anymore, we're stopping the boats, and the boats have stopped, but that's because the weather's fucking shite. It's not because of anything he's done. Like I've said before, we're going to stop the boats. He's saying that when he said stopping the boats, what he meant was reducing the number of boats. It's not quite what it means when you say we're going to stop the boats. If you say we're going to stop the boats, that means there's going to be no boats, not there's going to be lesser boats. If there's going to be lesser boats, then what you say is we're going to reduce the number of boats coming across, and hopefully they will cease altogether. But the easiest solution is you pick them all up, from the channel, and then you just drop them back on the beach again in France. France will kick up a fuss about this, but we're legally entitled to do that because we're sending them back to the last safe country they were in. France could do the same and send them back to either Italy or Spain, depending which way they came, and so on and so forth. If France kick up a fuss, we then point out that we've given millions and millions of pounds to solve the problem of these boats, and it's not solved a problem, so we want our money back, and we will charge them €10,000 for every single illegal immigrant, migrant who comes over on the small boats, and send them back again. But of course we do have to have plans for people who are legally entitled to get to the UK to actually have a way of getting there without risking their lives in the channel. Again, sorry if you've heard me say this so many times before. A flying what? I missed that. I was talking about BAFTA nominations announced. I couldn't give a flying... who cares about BAFTA? Unless, of course, I get a BAFTA for this. Can you get a BAFTA for doing a topical news show on YouTube? Oh, Friday, which was, I was going to say yesterday, but it wasn't. It was the day before yesterday, because we're doing this on a Sunday now. Although it feels like a Saturday, but it's not. It's a Sunday, because it is Sunday. Anyway, Friday, Tata confirmed shutting down the 2 furnaces. They give out, it is Port Talbot, they give out this one plant, which to be fair is massive. When I say plant, I don't mean a big dandelion. It gives out 2% of all the carbon released by the United Kingdom annually. Now that sounds a lot, 2% from one industrial area, one industrial site for the whole of the United Kingdom. Sounds massive, but then you've got to remember, United Kingdom is tiny in the scheme of things. That 2% is like a billionth of a percent of all the emissions given out by the rest of the world. So why we're doing this, beyond me. And I don't think necessarily, like I said before, that the ARC thing will ever save money unless it's completely greenly powered, which it won't be. Hi Ben, hope you're well. Another person joining us. Remember, if you're new to this, feel free to join in the chat. That's what we like. We like people joining in. You can agree, you can disagree. It's all part of the fun. On a serious note again, Alec Baldwin was charged with involuntary manslaughter over the death on the set of Rust last year, killing Helena Hutchins, who was 42. She was the, I think it was deputy or the second cinematographer on set, and she was tragically shot. Also, the person in charge of all the weapons on the set has also been charged with involuntary manslaughter as well. Apparently the film has now been finished, which baffles me why you would do that after such a tragedy, and it will be released at some point. And I trust any money raised, any profits from the movie, or any expenses after the shooting are ignored, and any money made on expenses before the shooting, including the wages of all the actors, particularly Alec Baldwin, will be donated to the family, 2 young children and the husband of the poor lady who was killed. Prince Harry, shut up Harry, he withdraws his action against the mail owners over a part of his privacy case. She's obviously he's been told he can't win and it's a bit too expensive to keep going, so he's withdrawn it, but it's still going on in court with other cases and other states. Did he or did he not pull that trigger? He says he never pulled it. Well, you would do, I suppose. If you've got a gun and it kills someone, you're going to deny pulling the trigger. But what it is it takes me back a little bit. If you're of a certain age, you'll remember Bruce Lee's lad, Brandon Lee. He was killed when he was shot in the chest with a blank firing weapon, which fired blanks, but it was the air pressure coming out of it, because you still have an explosion in the barrel, but it forces out air, which is why when you see them shooting guns, you see the air coming out, but then pretend there's a bullet in there as well. But the shock of it hitting his chest, I can't remember whether it just stopped his heart or whether it fractured his ribs, and that killed him because it went through either a lung or his heart or something else. But this was an actual bullet, and there shouldn't have been any bullets on a set where there's a western being filmed. No live bullets anyway. I know everyone in America has weapons and everyone has guns and things like that. With in the previous what a week that was, until I got fed up of just talking about people killing themselves or killing other people with guns in America. It was every week, and it still is. It's just I don't report it anymore now because it's just tragic. He still denies pulling the trigger. Yeah, but like I say, you would deny pulling the trigger. Let's just, it's one word against another. And they say, well, your fingerprints are on it. Well, yeah, I was holding it, but I didn't pull the trigger. But yeah, and they weren't filming at the time, so I don't think there's any recording of it either, which is a bit of a tragedy as well. Japan can do something that no one else seems to be able to do at the minute. They landed on Friday a lander on the moon. So we've had the one that was going up privately owned from America, which developed a leak last week. And this week we've got Japan who've actually landed one on the moon. They're only the 5th country in history to land something on the moon. But there's a slight issue with it, and that is that although it's landed okay, it can't deploy its solar panels, and I think by now its batteries will have run out. So, so close. No cigar. On Saturday, that was yesterday, Norfolk police failed a 4-member family after a 999 call at around about 6 a.m. Now this, to me, because I jumped to conclusions, sounded like a murder-suicide. And someone rang 999, stating there was an emergency at this property, and the police didn't go around at 6 o'clock on Saturday morning. A concerned member of the public rang at 7:15 on the same morning, so an hour and a half later. The police did respond, and tragically they found 4 people dead. A man, a woman, and 2 young girls. And again, it just sounded like some kind of horrific murder-suicide, which sadly happens a lot. However, in the breaking news, we'll find out that it may not be that at all, and maybe I should really wait till we get the facts before I jump to conclusions. The UN... what? Oh, not the UN. Unprecedented threats to the United Kingdom over terror threats, says Britain's most senior counter-terrorist officer. So basically, we should be at the highest state of alert now for terrorist activity, which brings me back to who are these people who are coming to this country we're just allowing to walk amongst us. What we should do is put them in a secure place, not allow them out of this place if we can't send them back to France, until we have verified they are safe to be allowed amongst our society. Last spring, summer, I remember seeing a group of non-European men, about 4 or 5, all looked under the age of 25, and I'm being generous there, and they were literally drooling over college girls coming out of the college in Wigan, who were dressed for the weather conditions, which was, crop tops and tight pants and all that kind of stuff. It was disgusting. Lecherous even. Now, okay, they may not have done anything, and maybe the girls didn't notice, or they might have just felt a bit uncomfortable or whatever. But what if these people are actual active terrorist groups? We don't know who they are. We don't know who sent them here. It is terrifying. But yeah, that is what is the most senior counter-terrorist officer has said. And if he knows, if anyone should know, he should know. It is terrifying. Meanwhile, today, quite a lot of news for Sunday. As we speak, the United Kingdom, or parts of, are under tornado warnings and amber weather alerts pretty much over the entire country with Storm Isha, or Aisha, depending on what channel you watch. Racism is back in football. Coventry City were playing Sheffield Wednesday, and one of the crowd allegedly did monkey motions to one of the black players from Coventry City, who rightly pointed this out. The match was stopped for a few minutes while they try and sort out the issue. But it also went on in Italy as well. There were monkey chants in Italy, and it's like, surely to God, we've got over all this by now. I mean, yeah, people might say, well, you don't want all these people in the country, you don't know who they are, and they might be terrorists and all that kind of stuff, and they're all black. Well, yeah, it's not because they're black, it's because we don't know who they are. You know, I don't have any problems with any race or whatever, as long as, you know, they are part of society. But there is no excuse for anyone to do it. This is like the 1970s all over again. It's just beyond a joke. And even the chairman of FIFA, and let's be honest, they're all tossers at FIFA. But even he said that, you know, if this thing carries on, then maybe the team that the supporter is a fan of should lose the game automatically and the match be abandoned. And I'm like, well, yeah, that would work. Or deduct points from the team for any infringement of this kind of thing. But no, it's an absolute sad state of affairs when, you know, a person is doing a job which is adored by thousands of people, and you get these idiots who decide that they are going to spoil it for everyone by just being, oh, disgusting. Oh, someone's written, thanks, Angela. So, oh yeah, because she said Ben. I'm like, why? And in Germany, protests over the rise of, now this is weird, but this is over the rise of popularity of far right party called the AfD. They basically are saying, or it's been rumoured that they are behind organising, if they get into power, mass deportation of all the migrants, as in all of them, just kick them out. But also the possibility of people who've lived there for a while also being kicked out. So a lot of the Germans are saying, well, these are basically like the Nazis in that respect, kicking out people who've lived there for years and contributed to society and everything. So mass protests have been happening to save democracy. But my argument is, if the situation's got where a party like that is becoming very popular, then surely that is the whole point of democracy. People can choose a party like that. And you going out saying that they can't choose a party like that is anti-democratic. Or am I just getting this wrong? I mean, I'm not saying I agree with these far-right people, but if people are protesting because they've become popular and they want to save democracy, well, democracy is a popular vote. The only way you get on in a democracy is by being popular. So if people are choosing to support a far-right group and they are becoming the second biggest party in the country, and I think they did well in a local election in Germany recently, and I mean very well, and then people are worried about it, well, shouldn't you be looking at the parties that you support as to why people are deciding that someone so extreme is a party for them? Democracy is not about everyone liking who you like, it's about people thinking who could do the best for their country. Or again, am I misreading the rood? I'm getting it right in your opinion. I've seen a lot of German farmers protesting. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the French are the best. I think they're the world leaders at protesting. France are absolutely geniuses at it. I mean, they block. If the fishermen go out and strike, they block all the ports and everything. And if the farmers go on strike, they block all the roads and towns and stuff like that. And I think, was it the German farmers who went on strike I talked about last week? Because the government had cut subsidies on fuel for the farmers, so they all did a go slow on the autobahns and everything. So yeah, I think there is a lot of protests going on, and this is why I think Brexit was a good thing, which I know younger people don't agree with me, but older people do generally. But Brexit was a good thing because we've gone through all the crap we've gone through, and we're coming out the other side of it now. And Europe is about to implode. If the far right do get in countries, I mean, the far right won an election in the Netherlands, and one of my someone I know is moving to the Netherlands, and I said, oh well, you're going to be classed as an immigrant because you were brought up in the UK. and you're moving to the Netherlands, and this person says the leader doesn't want immigrants in the Netherlands, would you not get deported? And he went, he probably won't get in, because the way it works is if you win an election in the Netherlands, you still have to form a coalition. But if you can't form a coalition with a group big enough, then whoever came second can try and form a coalition with other people to beat your vote, and then they can come into power. So you could win the election and not even get in power, your opposition. Makes perfect sense. Time to move to France, only for the weather. Problem with France is it's full of the French. And let's be honest, they got Macron in charge. It's not a good look. Anyway, that was the week's roundup of the news as reported in the UK. Now we look at the world news reported this week. Just Australia and America in this one. And Australia were very quick to point out that the new Queen of Denmark, it says it there in big letters, is actually Australian. Her and her husband, who was a Crown Prince of Denmark, met somewhere and on holiday, and they fell in love and they got married, and now she's Queen. And don't the Aussies love it? I voted Brexit. I didn't want a bunch of non-elected turnips making our rules. Okay, a quick look at the way I look at the EU. When we joined, it was a common market. That was all it was, common market. I was way too young to vote, but I was aware we'd joined the common market. Basically, it was like a gated community. You had the UK, I think Ireland, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Belgium, someone else. All in this little group. There was about 7 or 8 or 9 or something like that. And it was a gated community. We all kind of, did things between ourselves, and it was lovely, really nice. And then someone decided that it wasn't fair that we had all this, and people who just left the Soviet bloc weren't allowed in. So we had our gated community with a wall around it. We knocked the wall down at the back of the gated community and allowed the council estate in, which was basically your Polands and your Hungary and all that kind of stuff, who had completely different outlooks on life and completely different outlooks on things, but for a while it worked. And then someone said, yeah, but now we're ignoring the people like, the travellers at the outskirts of the town. So we invited them as well. Hello, Greece. And our vote went from 1 in 8 to like 1 in 28. And a majority of people who are now making the decisions were no longer of the people who have got similar views, Tories, Labours, which are pretty much you've got in all the European countries. And it just didn't start working. It just started to feel wrong. And that's why I voted to leave Brexit. It had nothing to do with immigration or anything like that, let's be honest. Even though we've now got control of our borders, we don't seem to be able to control anything. But no, it was about that. And now we've gone through that, when other countries leave, and I'm pretty sure Italy might be next, and then it might be Germany, and then France will have to leave if Germany leaves. But then we just say, okay guys, let's just get back to where we were. We'll do free trade with you, no messing around, bish bash bosh. And then the more countries see us doing that with the countries who've left, the more countries will leave, and then we can form a new group and not let in people who don't get the way we work. At least that's my opinion. Again, could be wrong. Oh, what happened then? Nothing. That was a problem. Popular US pizza chain coming to Australia. Chuck E. Cheese's. Never heard of them. An iconic US fast food chain has announced plans to expand down under, promising to redefine family entertainment across Australia with food, interactive play and activities. It sounds fun, but I've never heard of them. Why will France have to leave if Germany leaves? Because France will be on its own. It won't be able to control everyone else. because Germany's gone. So France would have to leave because they'll be on their own. The three biggest economies will have left, which would be Germany, the United Kingdom, and Italy, and there's only France left. Spain is more touristy, it's not really a major economy. So France would literally be supporting and subsidising all the other countries, and they won't do that for long. You know what the French are like. Trump wins Iowa caucuses. Now, this is weird. Donald Trump won the 2024 Iowa Republican caucuses. The former US president victory gives him a strong start in the race for his party's nomination. So basically, what they do is they go around the country to all the different states, and people who are members of the party, the Republican Party in this case, vote for the person out of the nominees who they want to be the leader, and then that leader, if they win, becomes president. Donald Trump is a crook, and a liar, and not a nice person. But at the moment, he seems the best bet for United States president again, and you're like, oh my God. Oh, hiya, Sabs. Hope you're good. Well, it's not Sabs, it's Sab, innit? The workshop makes it Sabs. But yeah, he could be in prison by the time the elections are on. Just reading that DeSantis. We've stopped doing the breaking news, please. I do the breaking news at the end. Investigation into Bobby's world record. Now, I reported a few weeks ago that this dog sadly passed away, and it was the oldest dog in the world, age 31. Hey, apparently, it might not be anywhere near that. There's a surprise. Still in Australia. Are back to school costs too high? Sorry, I don't know where that came from. As Aussie families prepare to hit the shops for school supplies, you've got to remember their summer holidays are over Christmas and New Year in Australia, where our summer holidays are in August in the UK, because obviously we're at the other side of the planet, mate. So yeah, they're all going back, and they're saying now that it's costs a staggering amount to educate a child from kindergarten to year 12. Well, no, we didn't know that. Data released by Finder shows that parents will spend a total of $12.9 billion on back-to-school costs in 2024, and that's per child. What the Australian dollar ain't worth much. Okay, it's not. It's the entire population of school children going back. But yeah, 30% of parents not having funds for items such as stationery and uniforms. I cracked a joke that cracked someone up who was with me at the time when I walked into Tesco, and a bit like this here, they had all the back to school stuff out and everything, and they had a sign saying stationery, and it was just hung there, and I went, oh, it's not lying then, is it, that sign? The person absolutely wet themselves. It was hilarious, but you had to be there. Hi everyone, hopes everyone's good. But yeah, it is expensive to send kids to school, mate. Princess of Wales hospitalised, even made news in America, Australia even made news in America as well, but I don't think I've shown it in the American news because, let's be honest, it's not that big. Talking of American news, a cloned rhesus monkey reaches adulthood for the first time in scientific breakthrough. Now, there was Brotherhood, Kidhood, and then Adulthood, and then Brotherhood, and there were 3 movies. Well, apparently rhesus monkeys reached up and grabbed the DVD version of Adulthood for the first time in history. No, it's not that at all. A cloned rhesus monkey has reached adulthood for the first time ever, with the unique primate now more than 3 years old, according to Chinese researchers, so it must be true. Retro, who was born on July 16, 2020, was the sole birth of 113 cloned embryos created by scientists in China. In China, apparently. Let's have a look what we got here. We got someone chatting. Let's have a gander. Oh. Right, okay then. I have no idea what that was for, Alan, but yeah. But yeah, anyway, this rhesus monkey's reached adulthood. It was on the top shelf, so it had to grow to, yeah. Experimental pilot and his new fiancée amongst 4 killed when his kit-built electric plane crashes. Right. Now, as Alan earlier on mentioned, BMW are actively pushing hydrogen cars. I've been pushing hydrogen fuel in my own limited little way for years now. Electric cars are not the future. The electric cars are more environmentally dangerous to the planet, and plus you can't have electric Boeing 747s because they'd be too heavy to lift off. So we need to develop hydrogen for the planes. This person built an electric plane and it crashed. Now, for some bizarre reason, when I go on social media, there's a thing that's, I don't know whether it looks like Grand Theft Auto, but it's not. And it's all these different cars jumping off ramps and things, and jumping through things, and jumping over things, and all that kind of stuff. And seeing, you know, A, if it could do it, and B, if you were in the car, would you survive, and all that kind of stuff. It's all AI animation. It's nothing. It's not real or anything. But every time a Tesla comes on and it's meant to jump, it just drives straight through the platform, crashes into whatever it's meant to be jumping over, and bursts into flames, and you're dead. The problem with electric cars is they are too heavy. That's the minor problem with electric cars. But never working planes. This guy built an electric plane. I mean, the number of things that could go wrong is unbelievable. And sadly, it has crashed. The experimental pilot and his new fiancée, it was flying a Cozy Mark IV, a single-engine 4-seater plane, when it crashed around 7 p.m. near Moss Beach off the coast of Half Moon Bay in San Francisco. I mean, it's horrific, but it's an electric plane. What do you expect it to do? Hydrogen is also a thing I'm working on in my workshop, Sabs. Got to be extra careful. Yeah, that's it. Is the problem. Well, everything, of course, Alan. It's going to be more expensive than electric. It's going to be more expensive than petrol at the moment, because if you give me a lump of crude oil and said make a litre of petrol out of that, I could do it, but it would take me a very, very long time and cost me an extraordinarily large amount of money. The only time when it's cost effective is when you've got somewhere like near us, Ellesmere Port, Stanlow Refinery, and you've got a thing that's purpose built. They're all over the world. Making hydrogen, and green hydrogen in particular, is going to be stupidly expensive. However, if you build something, and this is what I've said about these steelworks that are shutting down and these coal mines that have shut down, give them to people like BMW, give them to people like Saab, and get them to build the infrastructure to make green hydrogen at a cost-effective price. We've already got petrol stations that can be modified. We've already got cars that can be modified. A lot of the modern cars could be modified for hydrogen. We don't have to build all these massive car factories everywhere. We don't have to dig up all these lithium and all these other chemicals. We don't have to put massive amounts of copper wiring in the ground, because the wiring we've got isn't designed to charge everyone's car up. It's just going to be so much easier, but someone's got to take the plunge, and BMW are doing it. Smiley Mac. I remember this week. No, this is... well, I'm reminding you about this week, so you will remember this week. I did say at the moment. I know you did, Alan, but you'd like to wind me up, and I always bite. Toddler's tourist honest review of New York City full of disappointment. And she's even been reported to say, "Mum, don't lie to me next time." Convinced that the streets and avenues of New York City were paved with gold, one toddler tourist got the shock of her short life when she arrived at the Big Apple to find that it actually smelled kind of rotten, and the yellowish puddles on the ground weren't pools of precious metal. Luke Marsden is currently in New York. He featured on a Wigan Watch a while ago, and he opened up my shop in one of the vlogs as well. He's been a couple of vlogs. And he's currently in New York, and he's loving it at the moment. Pole dancing studio slammed over Mummy and Me kids classes. Only in America? No. An Atlanta pole dancing studio has sparked controversy after introducing a Mummy and Me workshop, with critics accusing it of sexualising children. Pink Pole Studio announced on social media that it would offer new classes for kids to learn tricks and spins through pole fitness. Beginning in February, We're here to break the stigmas and set the bar, the studio said on Instagram, where it posted videos of children, some of them as young as 4, using the poles. I tell you what, they'd be very popular in the high schools when they're older, wouldn't they? Boy 9 killed after crawling under school bus to retrieve a football. A 9-year-old Florida boy was struck and killed by his school bus after the driver had no idea he crawled under it to get his dropped football. The pupil, who has not been identified, was the last child to get off the bus in Orlando. After getting off the bus, he dropped his football and crawled under the bus, and as the bus set off, sadly, it killed him. Horrendous. Hey, Hamilton's back. Andy the Psychist, I'd rather see car companies go bust for being overpriced and producing cars that are too big for the roads. You're a cyclist, Andy. It's like, well, in BMW, massive. Yes. It's all good. Now, I'm not saying the Australians are thick, but fruit juice linked to weight gain. Really? I mean, do they think natural sugars do not make you fat if you drink shed loads of them? A new study has found a glass of fruit juice a day could lead to weight gain in children. The study analysed data relating to over 50,000 children's body mass index, with kids under 8 being the most impacted. Even if it was 100% juice without additional additives, it's still sugar. I mean, come on, Australia. If you get a load of grapes, not that I could do, kiwi fruit, which I can do, oranges, which I try and avoid at the minute, and some other fruit, I don't know, melons, bananas, chuck them in a liquidizer and mush them up, and then eat or drink it, it's full of sugar. Yeah, okay, natural sugars are better for you than, granulated sugar, but it's still sugar, and if your body doesn't need it, it'll store that for later, and you'll put weight on. Well done, Australia, for catching up. Then we go to America again. Oklahoma lawmaker wants animal control to take furries from public schools. Send them to the pound. A student behaving like a silly goose in Oklahoma could soon be hauled out of class by animal control. Basically what he's saying is, if you purport to be an imaginary animal or animal species, and you identify as such, you should be treated as such. So rather than calling the police, they're going to call the animal welfare people to come round, put one of them nooses round your neck and drag you off to the pound. Pope Francis says sexual pleasure is a gift from God, but condemns porn. Pope Francis says sexual pleasure is a gift from God, but warns Catholics not to engage in pornography. I mean, you know, if we want advice, the 87-year-old is probably the best person to do it. Religious leader told crowds outside the Vatican sex was something to be cherished, but is ultimately being undermined by pornography. We must defend love, he said, according to The Guardian. Winning against the battle of lust can be a lifelong undertaking. I have to admit, I know I'm in the minority here, but porn has never, ever, ever done it for me, ever. I just don't get why people watch people doing something when they're... I don't get it. IDF Chief Herzog Havlini warns likelihood of Israel going to war in Lebanon, and it's higher than before. That's because the current government of Israel want to take over the entire Middle East, and people can't see it, although I think people are waking up. I mean, I've been told by a few people recently that I'm waking up to things going on around the world, and I'm talking sense, and I'm working things out myself and all that kind of stuff. And it does seem finally that even America is saying, whoa, hang on a minute now, enough is enough. As far as I'm concerned, the government and the army of Israel, not the people of Israel, not the Jewish people, are war criminals. End of. I know, controversial, eh? Let's just come out and say it. Right, Australia. You really need to, I mean, if you need to be told this, there's something very wrong. I mean, this takes us back, Smiley Mac, you're in. What was the thing whenever I come up and used to do it in the What a Week That Was, you used to say when I got to the American news, what was the thing you always said? It had nothing to do with guns. It had something to do with something else. What was it? Can you remember? Oh, this is going to be interesting. I can have a swig of my drink though because I'm getting a dry throat now. Is Smelly Mac still here? Are we on a delay? We might be on a delay. Dum de dum de dum de dum. Dum de dum de dum dum dum. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? All right, why we? Oh my! All right. Hello, I'm here. When I was doing the news and it was like American news. No, not Shut Up, Harry. It's got to do with babies. Yeah, there you go. I knew we'd get there eventually. Right, so we thought America was stupid. Novelty alcohol recalled. It's feared button battery may become loose, leading to severe or fatal injuries in alcohol. So basically, if you pour yourself a drink and the battery is worked loose, not that the battery should even be in the drink, but don't drink the battery. Australians are now being told this. It's like, for God's sake, it's insane. There's a long delay. There is a long delay, you're right. But yeah, we got there eventually. Source of the mysterious red marks on Trump's hand revealed. Splotchy red markings on former President Trump's hand, which launched a frenzy of speculation this week. It was sexual pleasure, wasn't it? It was just a bit over enthusiastic. Were caused by blood from a paper cut, according to a report. I mean, I've had paper cuts in my time, but I don't think I've had one that has led me to bleed quite that profusely. People who've drank it say they feel recharged. Very good, Luke. Yeah, people said that it could be a rash caused by his golf club grip, herpes, but anonymous sources said it's a much more mundane explanation. It's a paper cut. Smiley Matt, Australia don't drink alcoholic batteries. For Zachary, we're miles away from there. SixLegged Dog gets surgery after $1,000 in donations. She got a little help from her human friends. A dog born with 6 legs found abandoned in a parking lot was able to get surgery due to the support of Good Samaritans from around the world who donated over $19,000 for the procedure. The 11-week-old spaniel Ariel was discovered in Pembrokeshire, a county in the southwest of Wales, with 2 extra legs. She was named Little Mermaid because the way the 2 surplus legs had fused with her body. Yeah, it made her look like a mermaid's tail, but she can't swim. Trump finally caught red-handed. Very good. Terrifying video shows how e-bike battery ignited an inferno in a New York City store. Remember, batteries are the future. A video posted by the Fire Department New York shockingly reveals how charging lithium-ion battery sparked a raging fire in Queens e-bike shop. The video from King Electronic Hub in Richmond Hill shows a charging lithium-ion battery surrounded by scooters and boxers shooting up a thick black cloud of grey smoke, followed by sparks, according to a clip posted on X by the Fire Department of New York City. So yeah, what could possibly go wrong having those everywhere, eh? Electric bikes and things. Oh, that wind's picking up. Italian province orders all pooches DNA tested in poop pickup crackdown. I agree with this. In fact, I nearly put it on my manifesto when I stood as election. When you get your dog tagged and you register your dog, should have DNA taken from the dog as well that is put in the tag, so that we know when you leave your dog's poo everywhere on the ground that it's your dog that's done the poo. So I told you exercise was bad. Yes, Smiley Mac. EVs are the future. Yeah, if you want a bad future, Alan. But yeah. Now, pooch parents are required to submit their pups for a DNA swab test as a tracking. I think you got an advert. I just noticed the thing and I didn't catch it in time. So apologies if you've got an advert. If you haven't got an advert, this makes even less sense. Dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. That's a effing job. Cats are as bad as my cat isn't. In the summertime, you know, when I was off for that year, the cat was here all the time, obviously. I was here all the time, and it was quite a warm summer. So I'd have the back door open, and she'd be outside all day, but she'd come in and do her business in the litter tray and then go out again. So yeah, my cat doesn't do it. She only poos in a litter tray because that's what she's been told to do. And I'm like, for God's sake, this is a one time. I don't need to buy litter. Do it outside at neighbour's yard. I didn't get an ad. I don't think everyone does get an ad, but some people may have got an ad. So I apologise if you did. A Canadian who blamed government for wildfires guilty of starting 14 himself. Canadian man who touted conspiracy theories claiming forest fires were deliberately set by the government has been convicted of starting 14 himself. Pyromaniac Brian Prey, 38, pleaded guilty earlier this week to 13 counts of arson and 1 count of arson with disregard for human life. As his main motivation, he claimed he was doing tests to find out whether the forest was really dry or not. It's one way to do it. I mean, another way of doing it would be to pick up some wood or something, take it somewhere safe, away from the forest, and see if that burns with it, you know. A 22-year-old gets double lung transplant after hospitalisation resulting from years of heavy vaping. A North Dakota man was given a 1% chance of survival after being hospitalised and put on life support while in need of a double lung transplant as his oxygen levels dropped after years of heavy vaping. Jackson Allard, 22, went to a clinic in October after complaining about stomach aches and was admitted because of low oxygen levels, where he was diagnosed. I keep seeing dogs in full jumpsuits when they are out on walks locally. Oh, that's just weird, because how was the poor thing going to do wee-wee and poo-poo without getting covered in it? Ugh. Vaping is bad, who would have thought? Yeah, I think we were discussing this earlier on, weren't we, about the long-term effects when we were talking about the COVID injections and things like that. Oh no, that was in the shop actually, I think. I was talking about it. Someone claimed that there's a lot more deaths going on around the world, unexplained deaths, and the majority of people who are dying unexplainedly have had more than one of the COVID jabs, but the media is not allowed to report it because it would cause widespread panic around the world. Like, yeah, vaping I think is more serious. I chose not to have the vaccine myself for that very reason. Not that I knew, but I just like, we don't know what's in this. But vaping, you've got, there was a famous picture, I think last weekend or the weekend before, of a child at a Wigan Athletic football match, video even. I think it was the FA Cup, wasn't it? Vaping, and he looked about 10 or 11, and he's vaping, and he sees himself on the screen and puts the vape down really quick. But kids are vaping, and they're not fully developed yet. Their lungs won't get a chance to develop properly with all these chemicals going in them. So I'm not saying that this guy, the problem he's got is solely related to vaping. I don't think it is. I mean, there could be other things involved in there. He could be a drug user. He could be live somewhere where there's asbestos floating around or whatever. There could be many reasons. It could be an infection. It could be like a severe case of pneumonia. It could even be COVID. But the whole point of vapes when they first come out was, if you feel the urge for a cigarette, have a little toke on your vape, and that's it, job done. But then you see people, particularly gangs of kids, walking around, and it's like following Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, they're all puffing away, and they go, and then they blow it all out, and then they're having another go straight away. And I'm like, what are you doing to yourselves? You are literally killing yourselves very slowly and over time. FA Cup versus Man United. Yeah, and that kid with the vape. I wonder if I can actually. Oh, I don't know if I can do this live or not. We'll have a go though. FA Cup kid vape. It was probably the best way of putting it, isn't it? Wigan kid FA Cup. FA Cup. Wigan kid vape. There we go. So we do that. I mean, I don't know him. Come on. Oh, just screenshot it there. Why don't we? There we go. Right, where's that up there? Just bear with me. If you're listening to this on the podcast, this is very boring. I do appreciate that, but it'll be worth it in the long run. Edit, crop, where's, save. Then we go to that. We refresh that. Dum-de-dum, there they are. We go there. We get that. We go download. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. We go into there. We go save. Right. So in theory, I should be able to get this up now. Or not. Oh, we're in world news, that's why. Let's go to there you go. Oof. So there you go then. That's what I'm talking about. Now, what do you reckon? 10? 9, 10, 11, something like that. And it's one of them disposable vapes, which are the ones that are the most dangerous out of all of them. Probably bought off a market stall for £1 or something. And no one knows what's in these things. It is terrifying that people are allowed to do it. Oh, here we go. My wife is a nurse at the General Hospital. She says this past few weeks has been a bad day for 20-year-olds coming in with bad lungs from vaping. There you go. Keeps telling me to quit the bongs. I was supposed to be working that, but I was ill. Are you still doing that course, Angela? It's finished. Cybertruck. Oh my god. But yeah, do you see my point? This young lad here thinks, I mean, he shit himself when he saw himself on the camera, but thinks he's cool because he's vaping. But, I mean, I'll probably be dead in 20 years, but I'd love to see him in 20 years' time and see, if he could run up a flight of stairs or even walk. 11, I think he said. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a preteen, and it's just, how the hell are these kids getting hold of this stuff? It really is shocking. Anyway, that brings us to the news that makes me go, which includes kids vaping, live on national TV. He's 10. Oh, there you go then. So yeah, this is where I look at the news around the world that makes me go, or stuff that didn't actually make it to the main news. Or we just look at Banksy pictures, because I'm a big fan of Banksy. If you watch my go on the playlist for the GM buses, there's one with the Banksy thing on it, and I went to the Banksy exhibition when it was in Salford. because it was spectacular. It was 20 odd quid, but it was worth every penny. I loved it. Now that one is in Liverpool, and I never knew it was a Banksy, but it was years and years and years and years ago. And it was on this obviously dilapidated building, and it was there for years and years and years and years and years as well. It's near the bombed out church in Liverpool, but I don't think it's there anymore now. Reminder, life is short. Go to that gig, says Radio X. Yeah, right, okay. We've got a few Banksy pics here in East Sussex, Hastings. Yeah, do you remember seeing that, Laney, when it was up? It was very, very good. I got a message off of YouTube, and I was like, huh? Yeah, the Elder Gamer, check out your anal. I'm like, am I? I didn't realise I was. No, it's my annual annual report. But yeah, unfortunate ending of sentence there. Right, now, Tesco have come up with this rather bizarre advertising thing. And I'll be honest with you, I don't get where they're coming from. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. Price cuts. And what they're doing is they're showing that they're cutting the price of various objects, of various food products, even though, let's be honest, they've whacked the prices up considerably more than they needed to during COVID and the war in Ukraine. I mean, they've monumentally ripped all supermarkets out. And the problem you've got is there's no competition. But this is their new advertising thing, which is showing that they are cutting prices. And I'm like, who has come up with this? Because whenever I see this, and it's animated when it's on the telly, whenever I see this advert, all I think of is Ghost Ship. If you've ever seen the movie Ghost Ship and the opening sequence, that is what this advertising campaign reminds me of, and I cannot get it out of my head. So I'm sorry if I spoil this for you if you've seen Ghost Ship. But yeah, this is exactly what it's buy some broken... No, it's not the broken food. No, it's not the broken food thing. It's the fact it reminds me of the opening sequence of Ghost Ship. Now, I don't watch many horror movies. This is quite an old movie, but the opening sequence involves a dance on deck where everyone gets sliced like with a cheese wire thing. It's quite gruesome. And this advertising campaign that Tesco have got reminds me of that. Reminds me of Kill Bill. I've never seen Kill Bill, to be fair, so I can imagine it's a similar kind of thing, only with samurai swords. MP Rishi Sunak to address the nation in a last-minute press conference. This is what I was on about. Stop the bolts. Well, when I said stop the bolts, what I actually meant was we just reduce the number of the bolts. See how many of you get this? Told the bus driver what a way to make a living. He didn't get it. I'll leave you to figure that one out. I think, I mean, even if it's just deliberately done, I think it's hilarious. I think it's a very well done thing. I do like it a lot. You got it yet? A walking 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. That's why I'm not a singer. Oh, here we go. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle send best wishes to Kate and King Charles. I bet they do. Yeah, Dolly. Exactly, Smiley Mac. Dolly Parton. Despite ongoing turmoil between Harry, Meghan and the rest of the royals, it has been reported that the Sussexes are now offering an olive branch following Charles and Katie's illnesses. Yeah, okay. Influencer left embarrassed after exposing her breasts on live stream by mistake. You wouldn't get me doing that, getting me knocks out on YouTube. God, no, never. Yeah, apparently she did by accident. Oh, Sorry. Yeah, back to Dolly Parton again. Woolworths may return to the UK high streets after 15 years to make it great again. Beloved former UK high street staple Woolworths could be set to make a shock return after German CEO hinted that he wants to bring it back to Britain and make it great again. Now, we all know that Woolworths is available and still going in Australia. Might also be going in America as well, I'm not sure, to be fair. But went bankrupt in the UK, as it says there, 15 years ago. They all shut down. It's one of the first big stores, big companies to go bust. But I can't see how they could revive it in the same way as it was back in the day. Shut up, Harry, I knew I'd need it. Poor King, pain in the arse. Yeah, very good. But yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I think we've moved on. I mean, you know, basically Wilco's took over as the Woolworths, didn't it? But that didn't go well either, so... A UK warship reverses into another UK warship, leaving a huge hole in an epic fail. Footage captured the embarrassing moments. HMS Chiddingfold slammed into the side of another minehunter ship, leaving a gaping hole at the side of the vessel. Brilliant. You can't even park a bloody ship. It'll be the only shop on most high streets. Yes. The way it's going, it'll be the only shop in the whole country. World's luckiest bloke came back from the dead and then won the lottery twice. Trucker Bill Morgan felt so blessed after cheating death that he decided to buy a lottery ticket. But while reenacting his windfall on live TV, he won again another $140,000. So he cheated death, and he thought, wow, I'm a lucky sod to be alive, I'll buy a lottery ticket. He won £140,000 on the lottery. The news company picked it up, said let's recreated it, and he won another £140,000 on the lottery. Hey, people are playing battleships now. Oh, putting the post offices back in them again, yeah. See, the problem is WH Smith's has gone as well. That was a bit, you know, a bit of everything. So I don't think it necessarily works anymore. A warning if you go into America, particularly if you go into Florida. Florida residents have been warned that they could be hit by giant falling lizards this weekend, as plummeting temperatures are set to cause the reptiles to fall from the sky. But they're not falling from the sky. They're falling from the trees because they're cold, so they lose the grip. They kind of pass out and they fall down. But it's not real. It's not, well, it is real, but they're not falling from the sky. Talking of not real. Bigfoot doesn't exist. It's actually just a load of big bears, says a boffin. A top boffin has poured cold water on sightings of the mysterious Bigfoot, saying that most of them happen where there are far more likely to be big bears. Well, who knew? Oh, just people in suits. Litvinenko's pal to lead Russian rebels to oust Putin. The ex-member of the Russian parliament from 2007 to 2016, but was exiled by Putin after he contradicted the brutal leader's action in Crimea. But he's now saying he's going to help Litvinenko take charge of the country. I hate when the lucky guys on YouTube. Oh, hi Kim, welcome. I hate when it's raining lizards. Yeah, it's awful, isn't it? Nothing worse. A student unaware of bullet in his head for 4 days after thinking rocket hit him. A bloke who had a bullet lodged in his brain for 4 days didn't seek medical attention as he thought he'd been hit by a rock. He even went swimming and partied with friends. I mean, talk about lucky. Giant falling lizards are eaten by an alligator. Welcome to Florida. My ex was a Yeti. Oh, Laney, you're evil. Royal Mail could scrap post on Saturday as part of bombshell new Ofcom plans. Now, I'll be honest with you, I thought they already had. Industry regulator Ofcom is set to outline its options to reform the Royal Mail in discussions due to take place next week, with Saturday deliveries being expected to be scrapped completely and potentially moving to alternate day deliveries in the week. Now, I'll be honest, we don't get a lot of letters these days, and when I do get them, they're out of date. I don't know where they end up, but they're certainly not first class anymore. I'm expecting a couple of Christmas cards anytime soon from last year. But yeah, the post office is not fit for purpose. It needs changes, and maybe that is the thing that needs changing. I don't know, I'm not an expert on these things. UK fires high-powered laser that can hit a £1 coin from half a mile away. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to hit a £1 coin? What's a £1 coin doing in the sky? The laser-directed energy weapon named Dragonfire demonstrated that our world-leading technology can track and engage high-end effects at range, helping to keep the nation safe. What we need to do is send it to Ukraine. And maybe give it to Gaza as well. As long as they only use it for shooting down drones that are killing civilians. Well, at least it gets tested then, doesn't it? Bride's strict wedding rules slammed as she bans baldies, tats and brown eyes. A bride was blasted for issuing guests with a 12-point list of rules banning anyone with tattoos, visible scars, bald heads and even brown eyes. I mean, I think someone like that shouldn't have any friends at all, and whoever's marrying her should be thinking, whoa, what am I marrying? What happens if we have a kid who has an accident at school and has a scar on the face? What do we do? Kill it? I mean, talk about... Sorry. Liz Lettuce Truss scoops £30,000 to talk for 2 hours about the failures as an MP. Lettuce Liz has now pocketed around £280,000 from public speaking since being ousted from office, receiving the latest monster pay from London financial risk management firm ILOD. So yeah, she was crap at her job and she's now earning a shed load of money talking about how crap she was at her job. Bet she's a delight, yeah. God. Her future husband should shave his hair. Yeah, go down and wear contact lenses, because I imagine he hasn't got brown eyes, but wear contact lenses and a fake scar as well. And this is the last picture, but I thought everyone would go, ah. Now, I've never seen Finding Nemo or Finding Lula or whatever it was. But apparently, these fish are actually taking algae off this bit of metal or whatever it is on the thing of the thing. And yeah, and then someone's written, I can't believe my eyes. But yeah, it's Finding Nemo, Finding t'other one as well. And then we'll leave you with our young lad who's probably going to have very severe lung damage very soon indeed. Which brings us to breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Wind orange has been issued until the 22nd of January at 6 AM. Severe weather alerts. Tornado warning issued as 90-mile-an-hour storm Aisha hits the UK. No. Russia charter flight carrying 6 passengers goes missing over Afghanistan. Brexit cost the UK the only good thing Margaret Thatcher ever did. Really? We've done the mail reforms. Manchester airport flights cancelled and hit by delays as Storm Aisha hits. Supermarket scraps its cheapest tea bags, leaving shoppers with a 24% price hike, which takes us back to what I was on about before. Council to hand back £9 million as it pulls funds from £25 million maritime hub, which is on the docks in Liverpool. I recognise the picture there, which you can't see. Dum dum dum. That's it for that. What else is going on? Ron DeSantis drops out of presidential race after campaign's failure to launch, which was broke by someone else earlier. Storm Isha travel chaos with trains cancelled across the country. Duchess of York diagnosed with aggressive form of skin cancer. Also, news broke by someone else. Teenager stabbed to death in Birmingham city centre, which, you know, America has a gun crime problem. UK definitely has a massive knife crime thing. And don't get me wrong, when I was 16, I was walking through a park and it was this time of year. I had a knife on me until I realised that if I pulled my knife out if someone was trying to rob me, I'd probably get stabbed by my own knife. So I know where they're coming from. But yeah, we need to stop all this. Peachy Andre says son Junior is on call for when pregnant stepmom Emily goes into labour. There's a lot of Xbox Series stuff here. Nicola Sturgeon, you know, remember her? Trustworthy, honest, SDP. SMP, sorry. Nicola Sturgeon responds to report she deleted her COVID WhatsApp messages, but she has had them printed off somewhere. And she's going to sort it out. I think that's it for the news updates. News update. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Boris Johnson says Donald Trump is just what the world needs. Van Davidols. Oh yes, yes, of course, Nicola Sturgeon. Famous for Thingamabobby being famous. We got anything else, or have we done everything? So yeah, breaking news isn't that exciting, to be fair. So let's have a look at what's gone on. Don't forget, if you've had a chat in the chat room, you will get a shout out. So if you haven't had a chat in the chat room, by all means have a chat in the chat room and I'll give you a shout out at the end of this. So we've currently got 10 people in there. We've got a chat rate of 3, which is good. We've got 4 likes, which is always a bit low. Most viewers we've had was fairly recently with 12. Average viewers thing is... why is this not working? Now there we go. Oh, for God's sake. What's going on with this PC at the moment? It's really, really sluggish. Average view duration is 13 minutes 14 seconds. So that's all good. Yeah, my PC is going really slowly today. I don't know why. And I've been on for 1 hour and 27 minutes, so I'll do 1.5 hours and then we'll cut it off. So big shout out to Alan Barton, JT and Rachel, Luke Williams, oops, yeah, JT, Laney, who else have we had? Angela O'Kane, Andy the cyclist, Ben, the two of us have always been. Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. So slow. So slow. Sab's workshop. Sab. Hope you're good as well. We've already said Laney. Normally this just scrolls down really smooth, but not today. So apologies. Smiley Mac. Hamilton Craven Lewis. Just realised who Hamilton Craven Lewis is. Hiya, Lewis. Hope you're good. Luke Williams I've already said. Smiley Mac I've already said. Oh, this is so slow. Dumpty dumpty dum. Or is that everyone? It might be everyone now, to be fair. Dum 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 dum. There's a lot of chat going on, which is always good. Chat rate's gone off the cliff now, though, so come on, get chatting again. Because I'm going to say goodbye in a minute. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. It's time to go and eat some French fries. Maybe not. Right, bye. Right, here we go. Fandabadozi. Bye everyone, have a nice week. Probably we'll see at the end of this current delay. Everyone hit the like button, please. Thanks, T. It's been fun and entertaining. Bye, sweetie. Yay. Nighty night, be good. If you can't be good, be careful. If you can't be careful, be good and careful. Oh, advert. Oh, damn. I'll wait for the advert to go for the people who've got an advert. Ugh. To be fair, my phone was slow as well, so I'm just wondering if the internet's just crap today. Maybe it's the wind. Nah. The wind is getting up out there. Yes, it is. Definitely, Alan. I can hear it. Hooling. Hooling, it is. It's hooling. Oh, and hi T as well. I know you're in there somewhere. And Andre, if you're on. Hi to you too. And Kim. Did I say Kim? I know Kim popped in briefly. I think I might have skipped past when she said something. Don't go out there unless you need to. I must admit I'm going to look at the weather in the morning because I'm going to think, well, if it's that bad, I'll wait until dinner time before I go to work. Because if anyone's daft enough to come to the shop when it's the weather's that bad, then they deserve to wait. But chances are it'll be over and done with by the time I get up. Anyway, that is it. So thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. I'll be seeing you. Until next time, stay safe out there. Bye! I've gone now. Have you? Yeah, are you sure? No, not really. Or maybe I am. Oh! Oh! Yeah. Oopsie. Oh, what's going on? Looks like it's gone. Oh no. Yeah, I'm going to end it now.